comforting to see that at least some places can maintain a degree of normalcy.
Construction materials and resources. And what about this talk of missing supplies? I would think the conversation starts there. Hmm?
I apologize, but with the cataclysm, the investigation has been slow going.
How convenient.
You're putting the growth before the horns! The issue is not the supplies, it's the workforce! This may sound weird, but if we could reunite with some of the exiles from House Maleen...
Careful, Envoy. It means nothing if those who lend a hand are holding a knife.
Not to mention, they're completely sloughing mad. What? Too soon? It's only been about 50 years.
For now, let me see what I can find out regarding the missing supplies. It's possible they were lost in the tragedy along with everything else, but I don't know for sure. Once that is sorted, we can revisit this debate.
Of course.
First the cataclysm, now this. There's too much going on right now. The accident has strained our supply chain on a number of fronts. Envoy Kadik argues it's a problem of manpower. Warden Veth'aal says it's a problem of resources. I had hoped we would have solved the supply issue by now, but there's been a complication. Pray that I could, but right now I need more time, not less. I'm sorry if I seem a bit flustered. Things have been chaotic since the cataclysm, and now word of missing supplies. But that doesn't excuse my rudeness. Let me at least introduce myself. My name is Kezrani Dul'kehf. I work as an executor for House Dul'kehf. Members of House Dul'kehf who handle trade in and out of Dazra. We are part of the Ministry of Commerce, but our building was lost in the cataclysm. I'm not someone in power, if that's what you think. Still, my work is important and allows me to meet all manner of people. Which is what I assume brings you to me? Do you need assistance? Trouble only begins to describe it. It's about the supply shortage. There may be a reason for it beyond the cataclysm itself. A week ago, my cousin Ukaru came to my office concerned about a series of lost shipments. He was certain someone was using the tragedy as cover to steal supplies and route them to our enemies. I'm not sure. The message was vague, and there are many who would want to do us harm. Agreed. It is difficult to believe, and as such, the proof must be ironclad. So I told my cousin to return with more evidence, and when I didn't hear back, I assumed that was the end of it. But this morning, I received a slate from a courier. It was from Ukaru. It was worrying, to say the least. Yes, he was trying to leave a trail, it seems, in case something happened. The contents were cryptic. He mentions a possible conspiracy and being followed and, well, I hate to say it, but I'm starting to panic. He hasn't shown up to work in days, and the timing of all this feels suspicious.
A sudden absence would give credence to the idea he was followed.
Agreed. Ukaru was extremely punctual. An absence like this is very unlike him. But if he is in danger, I don't know if it's safe for me to investigate. I need someone disconnected from the noble houses. I'm not sure that's wise, given Ukaru's warnings. If what he says is true, a watchful eye is being kept on House Dul'kehf. They may blame him or me for the supplies going missing. And if I investigate this, I could be accused of wiping records or tampering with evidence. An independent investigator, unaffiliated with the houses, is what we need here. Vital supplies for the city, which given the cataclysm is a wide breadth of things. Construction materials, medical kits, food. The loss of all this is a great cause for concern, given the state of the city. The slate Ukaru sent via courier is light on details, but he did say that one of the noble houses may be involved, which, if true, would emphasize the need for discretion and an outside party. Ukaru's workstation is likely your best bet. He's been working in the rehabilitation unit on the 3rd floor of the Halls of Healing. If you run into any issues with access, hand this slate to my fellow executors. Once you locate him, report back to me. I've got a meeting at House Kadik later, but I shouldn't be hard to track down. Hopefully you'll find my cousin alive and safe.
The evasions.
Miss, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I need to
Give you
work.
Supplies. We are stretched razor thin as it is. We have examined your children and found that they were not in immediate need of treatment. Other patients are in more dire circumstances and require assistance. I do not like it any more than you do, but that is exactly what I am saying. Your children will be fine, if the Great Serpent wills it.
I'm sorry, but this wing of the hospital is under investigation. You'll have to leave. Even with the cataclysm, this is highly irregular. But not surprising. Kisrani is obsessed with transparency and often seeks independent help. I find this tendency unwise.
And by unwise, he means a complete disregard for operational security, rules, and regulations.
Possibly. And yet, despite what I said, and unsaid, she persists in doing so. So, we must come to a compromise.
A good compromise leaves everyone unhappy. This one was particularly miserable.
I will give you the keycard to Ukaru's computer. You will be able to access documents and correspondence for the past month. Any further access will require admin privileges, which I am not willing to grant. Then you are out of luck.
In a bind, high and dry, up the creek without a paddle.
Exactly that. I apologize, but you were only given access to view the computer's records. Admin privileges are restricted to House officials only. True. Although Kisrani did not request admin access for you, I would expect her to, if it's required for her investigation. These are desperate times. I am aware of your stature, and the threat is noted. I would rather not make an enemy of you. I suppose, given all that's happened, exceptions must be made. You'll be granted temporary admin privileges to Ukaru's computer. That should be enough for you to do your investigation. Several. The halls of healing are extremely busy. We can't keep track of every individual that passes through. In particular, the patients. We had to usher one out of here just now, who claimed to have a crippling headache.
Given the patient himself was a headache, it's likely genetic.
The admin privileges I've granted you will allow you to view the access logs, however, that track the last users to sign in. It is highly unusual for anyone to display such disobedience, especially now. Such actions are tantamount to heresy. Loss of employment is the most likely outcome.
A beheading isn't off the table.
It would be done humanely, of course. Ukaru hasn't logged into his station for some time. I've had to process several write-ups documenting his absence.
Dereliction of duty, failure to serve, fireable offenses all around.
We've also had to shift resources and people to make up for his absence. Suffice to say, it has made navigating this current situation more difficult. Unfortunately, rather than use the proper channels, he chose to start his own investigation.
A very unfortunate choice.
I will not pretend to know the particulars of this case. I will say this. We are House Dul'kehf. We have a reputation. We are professional. We are exacting.
We don't make mistakes.
Precisely. Now, to get back to these spreadsheets.
What do you want? Remember this. We are always watching.
If Bukaru has not been eliminated or kidnapped, he will likely be terminated upon his return. Access is provided to and by executors of House Dul'kehf. This unit reminds you to be mindful of your position.
Whoever laid claim to this place seems to be long gone.
So, the coordinates on the tracking device brought me to what looks like a supply depot. Lucky for me, it doesn't seem as if anyone's home. Hello? Hello? Okay, looks clear. Anyway, the main entrance was locked, but I managed to sneak my way into a vent area and into what looks like a security office. But there's too many crates and some have been emptied out. I need to override the computer, look at the manifest, and ping the tracking device I placed on the crates. I wonder if I can even hack into the security system and identify their exact locations.
I never had the patience for computer systems. if it is accessed regularly.
I found the shipment! Along with, countless others. This is bad. Real bad. But it begs the question, who are these for? And who's helping them? Wait, what was that?
I see. You cannot escape the shrouding, accursed one. And now you and your friend will die! They've escaped through the vent. Find them!
Did you see something? Do they even try? You have made a great You can't hope to win. Winner takes all this tech race, is it not?
Now you are mine! Find the intruder! Block them from the control room! That's right! This is unacceptable! This serpent will have you! You cannot escape judgment.
Good one. Are you prepared to die?
Heretic! Die!
That removes any advantage they hope to gain by keeping us in the dark. Take what you must. Leave the rest for the scavengers.
I'll ask you again. Who else knows? No one! My superiors don't even believe there's missing shipments! And why is that? I don't know! They were all signed off by someone higher up!
If they knew that much, it's only a matter of time before they find out about my boss.
And what of it? If you are using this as a pretense to end our agreement,
My boss has no intention of doing that.
we will need assurances in person. We will send a message through an encrypted slate. The coordinates to Jandar's rest will be there.
I'll let them know. And what of this one? He's seen my face.
He's given us everything we need. Turn him to dust.
If you feel you're in danger, I can provide a security detail. My people are nothing if not capable.
Thank you, Envoy. I'll consider it. Was there anything else?
Yes, there was one more thing. Regarding the missing supplies, I was wondering if I could be of any assistance. Our agents mostly work in the settled systems, but I have contacts in Dazra as well. I can set up a meeting at the Halls of Obedience.
I appreciate the support. My mind has been frazzled as of late.
It's understandable. The accident has affected all of us.
You're right, and your concern is welcome.
I spend most of my time working at the Ministry of State. How can I be of assistance? I was at the spaceport, attending to business. I only witnessed the crest of the vortex emanating from the scaled citadel. It lasted only a moment. A flash in the sky. It was only the hours afterward that we understood the consequences of that moment. Oh, I assure you it was 100% personal. Davina and I have history. She blames me for derailing her political ambitions. Without getting too caught in the seaweed, a long time ago, I received some bad intel from a source on a zealot hideout. Davina used that intel to launch an attack, and ended up taking out a camp of civilians. The incident was high profile, and the fault was attributed mostly to her. She's never forgiven me for it. And I fail to see why. It's petty and unprofessional for someone of her position. With regards to politics, these days I'm mostly an advisor. I focus on high-level concepts and strategies as opposed to the day-to-day operations. I let my ward Okeem handle all of that. He sends me proposals, I weigh in, and give my approval. I've even made him captain of my ship, the Cortege. I joke that I'm mostly a glorified rubber stamp. But my days working the field are over. So you overheard us. Well then, let me answer your question with a question. Do you think the cycle of violence can be broken? Or are some conflicts absolute? I wholeheartedly agree. We do not have to forgive, but we can let go. And why continue to fight if the reason for conflict is no longer an issue? I concur, and the infighting serves only to weaken House Va'ruun and Dazra. In my argument back there, I advocated for more workers, even if it meant reaching out to our enemies. And yes, I understand the reluctance with House Maleen. Their crimes go beyond forgiveness. But I'm also not campaigning to conscript their soldiers. We need workers, healers, and engineers. People who can help rebuild Dazra, not tear it down. I'm surprised such a question can be asked with the city in such disarray. The problems are obvious, and yet those in power continue to emphasize patience and measured responses. Now is not the time for red tape. The more caution we exercise, the more people will suffer. They are the ones commonly known as zealots, fanatics who believe peace should never have been made with the settled systems. But to assume any group is a monolith is absurd. Reconciliation with the hardliners should be off the table, but we can find members within who are willing to abandon the Serpent's crusade. I'm a loyal servant to House Va'ruun, and if it takes this supply issue to be resolved for us to address the personnel problem, so be it. We'll talk more later.
We'll need to rely on others at times, but I'd like to keep this investigation mostly between us. I apologize. The envoy and I were just discussing matters of state.
In particular, I offered to help find the missing supplies. I have my people looking into the matter as well.
Thank you for your diligence, envoy. On that note, I hate to take up any more of your time than I already have. And I'm sure you're busy with issues regarding your own house. If you don't mind, I'd like a moment with the Vindicator alone.
This is a personal matter. I am sure the envoy will respect our privacy.
Indeed. And your timing is apt. The Cortege has arrived at the spaceport, and I don't like to leave the crew waiting.
Thank you, envoy.
Executor.
I appreciate your discretion. The envoy is a trusted figure, but you can never be too careful in situations like this.
In my line of work, this holds especially true. The more people know, the more everyone knows.
Exactly. We keep the circle of trust small until we know who to let in. And while having the conversation here isn't entirely secure, we press for time, so it'll have to do. So, now that we're alone, tell me, what have you uncovered? I was afraid of that. If only I had preached more caution. But after the accident, things were dire. Our resources were blocked. We needed those supplies, and... I I know you are right, but I can't help but feel guilty. As little good as it may do. But yes, we must continue the investigation. Face forward. If the Zealots are responsible, they must be punished. But one question remains. How would they gain access to the shipments in the first place?
The answer is both obvious and impossible to believe. Who would betray House Varun when so many are suffering?
That is a part I am having trouble with myself. But perhaps our loyalty to House Varun blinds us. This slate you found, it mentions a contact. Someone on the inside. This person would have to be well versed in our operational pipeline. They would have to know where to route the shipments and how to clean the books. It seems unfathomable. But perhaps Hukaru was right. A member of the noble houses has betrayed us. It's very likely that is the case. As for which house, well, I'm not sure at this point. House Veth'aal would have the authority to put supplies on hold and confiscate them. House Kadik would have the intel and spies, and the supplies were ordered by my people at House Dul'kehf. Yes, but without coordinates, Jandar's rest could be anywhere on Varun Kai. We're going to need to enlist some help. I'd like you to speak with Tivina Veth'aal at the Keep. If that slate has coordinates, she may have the means to decrypt it. Myself and some others were having dinner at the meat house. From our vantage point, we couldn't see what was happening outside the scaled citadel, but I could hear the blast searing into my skull. I remember falling from my chair, trying to get my bearings in this period of eerie silence, and then I heard the screams. Do not let her cheery demeanor fool you. She has a reputation around these parts for being a ruthless hunter of heretics. If she doesn't know the location of the hideout, at the very least, she'll have a lead. My mind goes immediately to motive. Who would want to aid the Zealots? I want to be careful, but I will say this. There are members of the noble houses who have floated the idea of reconciliation in the past. But to make a suggestion is one thing. Without approval from the speaker, the act is treason. Well, if the implication is my cousin is the conspirator, his death disproves that theory. But I'm not averse to keeping that information between us. They are fiercely loyal to House Varun and are in charge of rooting out zealotry in our ranks. Only one thing troubles me, though. If a shipment were put on hold and confiscated, it would likely go to them first. Excellent. As for me, I must mourn my cousin's passing. I understand there's a shrine upstairs, although it seems to be occupied at the moment. When you return, meet me at the Halls of Obedience, where we first met. By Jinan's grace, we'll find out who the supply thief is and bring them to justice. You may have noticed, but I've been on the move a lot lately. I don't mean to alarm you, but I think I'm being followed. I'll feel more comfortable if we meet in a public place. Mujin suggested a security detail, and I think I may take him up on his offer. If nothing else, but for peace of mind. When you betray House Varun, there is only one kind. Serpent guide you, and be safe.
Apologies, but you're not cleared to purchase from me yet. You do not have approval to trade with me.
Something disrupts Victor's work. I pray his focus returns soon.
Vindicator. I was wondering when you graced my office with your presence. Oh, yes. You've communed with phantoms, survived the ritual, and probably slew 2 or 3 horrors on the way. I'm not against the occasional embellishment on your behalf, believe me. Oh, you're a flatterer. Well, that will get you everywhere with me. In fact, I think you and I are going to be fast friends. But I realize that's not why you're here, hmm? Shall we get down to business? Excellent. I take it this is about the missing supplies. I may have some intel on my computer that could help you with your case. Ship departure records that match the date supplies went missing, as well as employment records for individuals working the spaceport. If the supplies left Dazra, cross-referencing their confiscation dates with the spaceport logs will put a big flashing arrow pointed at the suspect. But we can discuss that in detail after you've read the records. Well, look at that. The Great Serpent favors us both. It just so happens that one of my agents recently recovered a Zealot cipher key and dropped it off this morning. Here, a copy of the key for your records. Well, as you can see, the encryption they're using is mind-numbingly simple. Take the slate number and multiply the even numbers by 2. Your slate's numbered 2032, which means the key is... You hit the bullseye! Let's see what you've won. Looks like an all-expenses-paid journey to John Dar's Rest. Lucky you. Okay, scanning the coordinates, these point further north, hidden in Badlands. Clever, clever. Good. Then you shall have precisely that. But that aside, let's get to the guts of the issue, hmm? After reading through the evidence, where do you think the supply thief is from? They did assign someone to work the spaceport. And the ship departure dates of the cortege also match the date the supplies were lost. Ah, I think you may be onto something. Well, whoever the thief is, I think it's all but guaranteed you'll find more clues at John Dar's Rest. Now, since you have what you need, I'm going to turn my attention to other matters. I've enjoyed our time together, but as they say, fish and guests are quick to stink. Let's avoid that from happening to us. Better make haste. A good lead is like a puff of smoke. Hard to miss. But wait too long and it's gone. Well, I was in Jinan Plaza and had a full view of the whole thing. It was spectacular. A wave of energy sweeping over the city, eating everything in its path. The destruction alone was impressive. But what I'll always remember is the noise. The vortex itself moved swiftly, darkly. But the sound of it was a slow hum. Deliberate. I can't explain it any other way. Like thunder rolling after the lightning. The power of the great serpent. Unleashed. Well, the keep is where the army of House Va'ruun has been traditionally armed and trained. To fight and conquer will always be a part of our culture. Even in peacetime, the serpent is coiled and ready to strike. Zealots. Lots and lots of zealots. And if you're lucky, the traitor sending them our supplies. Remember, Chosen, none but the faithful are promised tomorrow. A lot of these agents worked for the Ministry of Conjunction and had to be reassigned once they returned to Dazra.
Could evade me?
Caves like this can be an excellent way to conceal the presence of an illegal operation. I should know.
The best you can do. There is no escape.
Another way through here. Unsure where it leads. Never necessarily the aim, but there's something worth taking.
cannot beat me.
You're too late, Vindicator. The contact has already returned to Dazra, and your handler, Kisrani, will die by their hand. We have dispatched our people to Dazra. The contact has agreed to smuggle them in and kill the one named Kisrani Dul'kehf. Your journey, however, ends here. Because they are weak and unworthy. For years they cowered in their holes, leaving us to fight the war that Jinan began. They are one who has Jinan's ideals in mind. To make House Va'ruun the might of the settled systems. Only by uniting with House Malin is this possible. Child of Jarek. Normally, I would not entertain such cowardice. But the speed of your arrival is suspicious. How did you find this place so swiftly? I wonder if the contact has betrayed us and fled to safety. Killing us would remove his only witnesses. Yes, and I doubt that even the Warden, despite all her bloodthirst, would find us so quickly. No. This reeks of foul play. Interesting. I suspected the same. Very well. If we have been betrayed, then there is no bargain left to uphold. The name of our contact is from House Kadik. This slate will give you all the evidence you need. Goodbye, child of Jarek. Pray we do not meet again on more even ground. You have the evidence you require. Leave, lest the fangs of the void take you.
Brother Onamid. They are meditating in the shrine room.
You're back. Did you uncover anything at Jandar's Rest? I had an inkling I was being followed, so I asked for a security detail to protect me. Mujin? Does this mean he's the supply thief? Are you sure? Then I may be walking into an ambush, seeing as Mujin's the one who organized this meeting and supplied my security detail. The meeting takes place inside the Halls of Obedience. Will you watch my back? I want to avoid innocents being caught in the crossfire. If this is what I think it is, then let's be extra cautious. I don't know if we have enough evidence. If we're the aggressors here, it may be harder to prove. Let's wait for them to make the first move. Thank you. Okay, let's walk.
For House Malene!
And our victory! Well earned. Best not to leave anything useful behind.
Jinan, bless you. I would not have survived that if you hadn't been here. It's more than luck. I'm beginning to think your coming was divined by the serpent itself. In any case, now is not the time to dawdle. Our next move must be to arrest Mujin. He's a prominent member of another noble house. I'm slightly concerned about the optics of this. Some may say we are trying to shift the balance of power, and so to move forward, our evidence must be ironclad. No, it's safer in your hands. And when it comes time for the trial, I want you to deliver it. You're the only impartial person involved in this case. And besides, you did the legwork. You deserve the honor of submitting it. I am of House Dul'kehf. We are meticulous to a fault. Before we move in, I want to make sure we have opened every closet, looked into every crack. Thank you. This assassin's attempt will help our case, but we still need evidence tying him to Mujin. If you have time, check his office. There may be information connecting him to this individual. Yes, as a matter of fact, the bodies of the assassins. They may offer more clues. I'll have security look them over also, but if their ranks have been infiltrated, I'd rather you inspect them first. Good. Our case must be ironclad given whom we are accusing. Regardless, he must answer for aiding the Zealots and the murder of my cousin. Give me until the coming dawn and I will summon the relevant parties to my office. Mark my words. We will bring him to justice with all three noble houses as witness.
I wonder what your presence here means for the Ministry of Conjunction.
You've been busy, Vindicator. Of course. You've managed to piece together this case at a pace I did not anticipate. That is a credit to you as an investigator. But before you proceed into that room, I must ask, do you have the proof you need? Is it solid? Yes. My intel says you came back with a slate in hand. I imagine the contents of which are incriminating. So let us speak frankly for a moment, if we may. I've been thinking about the events of the past few days, and I have some thoughts. The speed at which things have unraveled, it makes me wonder how much of this outcome has been orchestrated. Of course, I am not denying my role in all this. Yes, I approved to have the supplies rerouted. And yes, I ordered that they be directed to the Zealots. But the murders, the violence, these were not directives I had ordered. If I am guilty of anything, it's being a rubber stamp. No. I have kept my actions separated from both Razma and Jimal. My goal was to inform them once I had something more concrete. That all went out the door once Dul'kehf caught wind of the missing shipments. Because we are all in need. Everyone was affected by the accident, including the people here. And if we are to reintegrate House Malene, we need to show them our aid isn't contingent on our abundance. How would it look if the moment our supplies had diminished, we kept them all for ourselves? I offered to provide her a security detail, but I had arranged the assignment through my ward, Okim. In fact, even my work with the Zealots was all done through him. Yes and no. I may have been pushed toward this outcome, but I do not regret my actions. A handful of supply shipments are a meager exchange for an entire clan of allies. Earlier when we spoke, you told me that the cycle of violence can be broken. United with House Malene, we can rebuild Dazra as the industrial and military force it was during the Serpent's Crusade. Which is why I asked that you listen to my proposal. Let me go. Allow me to continue my efforts discreetly for the betterment of House Va'ruun. We'll have to burn that location regardless. I imagine Tavina has likely sent her inquisitors to clear the place anyway. I trust you'll understand if I don't reveal the location of their next hideout. I have a ward, Okim, who I've used to keep myself separated from this operation, and also serves as the perfect suspect. I'll arrange for him to conveniently disappear. While loyal, it's better for us both if he isn't available for questioning. Your flippant attitude only gives me more conviction. You only see what's in front of you, and not the big picture.
Please. You made no grand gesture. You violated the law and aided those who want us dead.
I don't know what evidence you've gathered, but without anything concrete, it's your word against mine. We shall see which one carries more weight.
From what I hear, we got our man.
Thank you all for coming. I think we can all agree that the charges for this crime are quite serious. Theft of supplies, aiding the Zealots, and the murder of my cousin. Which is why it comes with great shock that evidence points to a member of House Khadik as the thief.
Based on what evidence? House Khadik does not deal in trade. Your house does.
I would not be making this claim without sufficient cause, nor is House Dul'kehf the bearer of this information. Vindicator, the floor is yours. This slate lists you by name, Envoy. What do you have to say for yourself?
Is this what you called me to your office for, Kisrani? This is an absolute disgrace to your department.
You haven't answered my question, Mujin.
Nor should I have to. A single slate, which I might add is likely fabricated, is not enough to prove anything.
Working the spaceport would allow for both the smuggling of supplies and people amidst the chaos.
Correlation does not imply causation. Even you should be aware it's not enough.
Oh, you didn't know? We have piles of evidence, ship departure records, signatures, the works. And of course the kicker, Kisrani's would-be assassin.
Security has identified him as Okim Kadik.
Well, that's your ward, Mujin.
In fact, if I were you, Envoy, I would think long and hard about submitting to the Guard peacefully. Given the severity of your crimes, the Captain has the authority to do it by force.
I will cooperate, but this is by no means an admission. And make no mistake, the three of you will pay for this insult.
Make all the threats you want, Envoy. My decision is made. Guard, take him away.
As you command, Executor.
Now, that was satisfying.
I appreciate you backing me up on this one. Warden Veth'aal had brought some evidence linking Mujin to the crime, but it's your evidence that makes me feel confident we can convict. All told, I'm extremely grateful. Ukaru was family, and I would not have been able to rest if I knew the thief had not been brought to justice. The Guard will move him to lockup. You can visit him if you like, so long as he cooperates. A grim reality is, it's unlikely he will be there long. Aiding the Zealots is a crime punishable by death. There are typically no exceptions. Add to that the murder of a state official and, well, he'll be lucky if his death is swift. It's a well-known secret that Mujin was not a popular member of House Kadik. I suspect he may have operated independently, and Elder Razma will likely deny any involvement. My thanks are yours. You had no personal stake in solving my cousin's murder, yet you did so with diligence and aplomb. For that, you will be well rewarded.
I've also handed over everything we have at House Veth'aal regarding the case. Who knows what other crimes we can uncover while poring over the evidence.
I'll take this up with the captain of the guard. After that, our part in all of this is done. Jinan grace you for taking on this investigation. You've done a great service for House Va'ruun and for Dazra. And on a personal note, I want to extend my gratitude for avenging my cousin's murder. With the accident and all that's going on, I haven't really had time to grieve, but closing this case might help me start that process. So for that, I thank you. Maybe sometime later I'll take a moment to reflect on all that's happened. Back to the world of spreadsheets and tables. To be fair, I love a good spreadsheet. We are a house that values efficiency and detail, and our elder Hazmek is no exception. When others rush, we are deliberate. When others speak, we are the first to listen. And when it comes time to act, it is we who are most prepared. The case is all but closed, in my opinion. But in the interest of due diligence, we are monitoring the flow of supplies much more closely. Any package put on hold must be approved by at least 2 executors. Oh, really? I'm sorry. It's just, given all that's happened, it's been so long since I had a normal conversation. I'm not even sure I remember how. But all right. I was born into it, you might say, as all in House Dul'kehf are. Now, I was fortunate enough to get the spreadsheet gene, as they call it. Some people enjoy a good wine, others music, but I am at home with a well-organized table. More determined than ever. Dazra's problems are many, but they can be solved. You are living proof of that, no? Let me know if you have any further questions.